Welcome to the Tom Matt Show. You are walking through the front door of the retirement zone. And now, your host, Tom Matt.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Tom Matt Show. Got another good one coming at you. They're always good, I like to think and say and believe. The seller's agent. Okay, so this is the bookend to the last week's show that we did with Mikey and Brock, the buyer's agent, because we're really focusing on helping you guys get the best bang for your buck with your real estate. Because between your real estate and your financial situation, because they're both so connected, having a good idea and having the team that you need to support you and make good decisions for you and help you make good decisions, like Brock helped me make good decisions and Mikey helped me make good decisions. Our friends, you got to trust them. They are the best. They will help you out. Brock Fletcher, you guys know Brock. He's been around for 22, 25, 40 years. I mean, he's been around forever. Been doing stuff. He's laughing. He's a big Spartan fan. Got the fam going. He was on last. This is 26th episode, so I'm going to cut the long bio down. We know Brock's the king, okay? He's married. He's got Katie. He's got Jenna. We talked about Jenna. We'll be getting Jenna on the radio program when she gets out of her master's program here soon. But let's have some fun today, because now we got three guests. Morgan Meredith, Stacy Robinson, and of course my man Brock, the Kingpin Fletcher. All right. Without much further ado, Brock, we're going to do the same thing, everybody, because it's a seller's agent and it's based on the AI, the top 10 questions that AI asked or listeners, people asked AI, buyer's questions, the seller's questions. God, I got to get this stuff straight. The seller's questions. So Brock came up with this list of 10, just like we did last show, and it's going to be really fun. So we'll roll through these things with our guests. First, let's, Brock, why don't you check in and kind of set this thing up, introduce your stars, and I'm just going to keep time. Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I'm so excited about this episode, by the way, because the listing land is my forte, and many of your listeners don't realize that we have two of the best listing agents on the planet, let alone in the greater Lansing area between Stacy Robinson and Morgan Meredith on our team. Both are actually better than me. Statistically, they're better than me. They rank higher in the board of realtors than I do. They are phenomenal. And so you're getting information today from the absolute best, right?
Super stoked. All right, introduce them.
Yeah. So Stacy was on our program a couple of episodes ago. So I'm going to introduce Morgan first. Morgan, if you don't mind, will you share a little bit with the audience about who you are as a person and your family and just whatever you want to share?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Morgan Meredith. I grew up in the Jackson, Lansing area. I live in Springport currently. For those of you who don't know where Springport is, we're like literally in the middle of Jackson and Lansing, just south of Eaton Rapids, where Stacy's from. I have two boys, 7 and 2, Logan and Eli. They are my world. They are the reason why I became an agent, actually. Before I became a licensed agent, I actually worked, my first job in real estate was the front desk at Keller Williams, director of first impressions. And I just kind of fell into that job. Back when Craigslist was a thing, I mean, Craigslist isn't even a thing anymore. There was a job posting for somebody, they said looking for a smiley face or something like that. And so I applied for it on Craigslist, emailed, and long story short, I got the job. And it was just a part-time job, and, I enjoyed it. But then, the Brock's team, the selling team, needed a little bit more help. So Sarah from the team, asked if I would join the team part-time just to see how things went. It was just a temporary thing, but then it turned into a full-time position. So I did that while I worked my way through getting my associates in business, because originally I wanted to be a teacher. Then I changed my degree halfway through. And so Brock and Sarah were super, super flexible with allowing me to go to school and work for them. So that was great. And then, I turned into the listing manager. So doing client retention, filling out, contracts, looking over the contracts, doing the marketing, all that sort of thing. And then after I had Logan, I went to Brock. Actually, Brock used to do these seminars, and he, as me working for him as his, listing manager, he wanted me to record these seminars that he did. So I'm sitting at one of his seminars at Ellie's place, and he's saying, if you don't love what you do, this is your sign to do something that you love to do. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't love what I do, but I'm so scared to tell Brock because, Brock and Sarah, back up to after I graduated from Baker College, I had a job offer to work for Linda Vale for the Department of Health in Lansing. And I was nervous to do my interview. And Brock said, don't be nervous. Let's practice together. He literally practiced with me before I went to my interview and gave me all these tips to do a good interview. Him and Sarah gave me a great review. I got a job offer from them. And Brock said, whatever they're giving you, I'm going to match it. We didn't even, so anyways, he matched it and we ended up, so super thankful for that. I know I'm getting off topic, but.
No, that's great.
So I go to Brock and I said, you know what, Brock, I love working for you and I love the team, but I want to be an agent. I really want to be an agent. And he goes, great, do it. Take the class and do it. We'll figure it out. And that's what we did. I took the class and I had very little training on going on appointments because the week that I actually got licensed, I think everybody on the team other than Sarah and myself were on vacation. And there was somebody who wanted to list their house and Brock's like, take it, sink or swim. And obviously I didn't sink, I swam. And I've been swimming ever since and I love it.
Congratulations on that. We got a short time here for Stacy, but go ahead, Stacy, talk about you a little bit and your listing expertise with this. I'll give you the signal when we're getting close to break. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good. So I got licensed in 2015. I joined a smaller boutique brokerage right out of the gate and quickly realized that wasn't where I was supposed to be. I had been in communication with Brock because, 10 years ago, you actually had to call the agents to schedule these appointments. And every time I went to schedule an appointment, Brock was the listing agent. And I'm like, man, what are you doing? You are amazing. He said, come into the office. I'll tell you all about it. And he offered me a position and I wasn't quite ready to make the leap because I'm a small town homegrown girl, right? So the thought of going to a big corporate office just kind of scared me. So a few months later, it became apparent that I wasn't where I was supposed to be. I reached out to Brock and I said, hey, are you still looking for that buyer's agent? And he said, yes, and invited me to come in and meet with him and Sarah. And the appointment went well. He said, I'll call you in a couple days. I got to discuss it with Sarah and my team. And so I left the interview, stopped and got lunch. And by the time I parked, Brock called me and he said, Sarah said I had to call you right now and get you on the team before somebody else could swoop you up. And so that was, almost 10 years ago. I think it'll be 10 years ago in August. I was a buyer's agent for about a year. And then talked to Brock about, my desire to work with sellers instead of buyers. And so I've been doing that ever since.
Right on. I love it. I got so much stuff to say about Brock, but we're going to come up on break here. Let me reset this thing for everybody. We got a 4-way conference going on here with Brock, Morgan Meredith, and Stacy Robinson. We're calling this one the top 10 questions that sellers propose ask AI. This is, again, a Brock thing. It's a piggyback from last week. So these two together, the buyers and the seller's agent complete show on the seller's agent. This is what you need to know. If you're getting ready to sell your home, this is the show. All right? Tom Matt Show, the seller's agent, reality of real estate. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Tom Matt Show. Thank you, Sandy, for bringing us back. I want to thank Vanessa and Mitch Anderson for what they do for keeping us rolling here. I mean, we got so many different irons in the fire with all this. Another thing that keeps us rolling is our sponsor, Brock Fletcher, the selling team of Keller Williams. Love these guys so much. You know what? The whole thing about the Keller Williams Realty team, and again, full disclosure, you guys have heard me say this hundreds of times now. They really helped our lives tremendously. Sandy and I, when we had big house whole, your forever home, that kind of thing. You build this place, you build it from dirt, and then you wind up selling it. It's so challenging. That's where Brock came in and gave me some really good, and it was unsolicited. He was just being honest. He was just trying to help us. And you know what? He was right. If you want to get some right answers, here's a couple of numbers at you. 517-853-6408 is the office number. 853-6408, area code 517. Here's the key number. 517-303-3262. 517-303-3262. Slow my pace down a little bit there. That's Brock's cell phone number. Reach out to Brock anytime. I did it yesterday, a couple of times actually. Reach out to him. You'll get his voicemail, probably. You'll know when he's going to return calls, which he always does. The guy's so great at changing his voicemail and doing all that good stuff. Leave him a message, text him, however you want to do it. He will point you in the right direction if you're a seller or you're a buyer or you just have questions. Go for it, okay? kwsellingteam.com is the website. It's awesome. It's a great website. Wish my website was that nice. You got to do what you got to do. Sell your home without hassles. You know what? Buy your home without hassles. That's what it's all about, okay? Top sellers questions. Top 10 sellers question from AI. I got to say something. I'm going to jump in here just for a quick before Brock jumps into his AI-generated questions that everybody needs to know the answers to. But what I from the first segment, and I'm going to, if you're just joining us, please go listen to the first segment on the podcast. What we learned from these two awesome people, talk about Morgan Meredith and Stacy Robinson. Brock is supportive, Brock is a mentor, and Brock is a leader who wants his people to succeed. He's not a micromanager, and he's also he has a huge impact with our students at Michigan State University. So it's gotta love it, because I'm a student guy myself. I love supporting the students and the young people. So Brock, thank you for doing that. It was so nice to hear that from Morgan and Stacy. I mean, it's just the messaging that they threw out there was just great. Morgan's story was hilarious. So it's yeah, that's Brock. And I want to get involved with the L's Place too. I'm going to do that with you, Brock. We'll talk about that off air. All right, here we go. Top 10 questions home sellers have based on common inquiries and market trends. I'm going to play just facilitator here. Brock is the host of Jeopardy. And we got Morgan for, seller's agent for 100 and Stacy going for 500. Let's go. Let's start this whole thing off. Let's have some fun. Go ahead, Brock.
Awesome. So we've got 10, and really these are all $1,000 questions if we're going to equate it to Jeopardy, because there are no $100 questions in real estate. They're all important. But Stacy, I'm going to come to you first. The top 10 question based on Gemini AI is what is my home really worth?
That's a good one.
That's a great question. Yeah, absolutely. So the best way for us to determine what your house is worth is to really dive into the research and look at the data, the comparables. We want to try to leave all emotions out of it when we're pricing the home and really focus on the data. So our first step when we're determining what that value is looking at the assessing records, looking at what year it was built, where the location is, the square footage, how many bedrooms, bathrooms. So what I do is I collect all of that data and the houses that are similar in size, shape, condition, et cetera, bring those comparable sales with me from the last 12 months. And then our first in-person meeting, we go through the home, we look at the condition, and we can compare that to the recent sales so that we can really determine what the market value for the home is.
So that's the first step. I tell you. What do you think, Brock?
I mean, it's a great answer. And both Morgan and Stacy, they're really good at this, right? They're really good at walking into a client's house, identifying their needs, looking at their property, and then letting them know what the market's likely going to support in terms of value. So really, they're really good at it.
Yeah. And then depending on the situation, some clients that I work with say, I want to sell it as is, where is, let's just put it on the market how it sits. In other cases, it does make sense for me to recommend certain things that they can do that may help to increase the value of their home or the marketability. Safety issues certainly is at the top of that list. Sometimes cosmetic things like maybe some new flooring, some paint, just things to clean it up and make it look nice. I never, ever recommend anything that they're not going to get back. It just doesn't make sense to spend $5,000 in order to make $5,000 unless it's a safety issue.
This is so important to understand because I went through this before I met Brock long time ago. I was about to do a new bathroom in my house, and the agent was really good, a friend of my mom's. And he said, no, that's exactly what Stacy was just saying. Saved us a bunch of money. Don't need it. Don't do that. All right, Brock, let's do number 2. That's a great answer, Stacy. Great job. Go ahead, Brock. Let's do number 2.
Yeah. And this is actually really close to the first question. Morgan, how do we determine the best asking price?
So similar to what Stacy said, we're going to look at comparable homes that have sold recently. Typically we'd go, back a year, but sometimes the most recent comparables are going to have the most weight on the price. But as far as determining the best price, unfortunately, a lot of people are still stuck on the bidding wars. And, a couple years ago, you could price the home however you wanted to price it, price it way above value and you would get bidding wars. Price it under, you'll get bidding wars. But now the market's changed quite a bit. Yes, homes are still selling, values are still high, but we're not seeing as many bidding wars. So that's why it's really important that you get the pricing correctly. I have, sellers that say, I want to list top dollar because I want to give myself room to come down. Other sellers will say, I want to list it low because I want to get that bidding war. It's real estate is always unpredictable, right? There's no science behind it, right? It's all about the numbers and all about the data. I typically recommend to sellers, don't price it high and give yourself room to come down, because by the time, say we list it $10,000 higher than where we think we're going to end up, we do a price reduction. And by the time we get down, we may have already lost those buyers. So that's why we need to make sure we're pricing it right where it needs to be.
And my story for you is Brock gave me what I was going to sell Big House Holt for. I wasn't happy, but he gave me the reasoning. And he explained, and we can talk about this stuff more, because I learned what carrying cost was. And Brock hit the number right on the nose. I mean, I am not kidding you. Boom, done deal. Top 10 questions sellers are asking in the real estate market. Brock, Morgan, Stacy, this is the Tom
Thank you
Show.
again to Brock Fletcher, real estate agent at the selling team with Keller Williams Realty. For more information on services provided by Brock, please call his personal cell phone at 517-303-3262 or by emailing Brock at kwsellingteam.com. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Reality of Real Estate episode with Brock, Morgan, and Stacy, because we're calling this one the top 10 questions sellers are asking for their home. The seller's agent is the title of this one. This is a bookend to last week's episode where it was on the buyer's side of things. So if you've got those two things in your mind, check those two things out. Now, remember, this is one of my favorite parts of the show where I get to do testimonials. This one's really good, okay? This fits perfect for us, okay? This is coming from Byron and Laura from Okemos. We love our new home. Goodness, thank goodness. Thank you for going the extra mile, in big, bold type. Thank you for going the extra mile for us, especially, now this is the thing I want you guys to pay attention to, especially when our sale almost fell through. You know what kind of anxiety and tension goes on in a family when something like that's going on? I mean, if you don't have a counselor and a therapist like Brock or Stacey or Morgan helping you with this stuff, you could be in for marital trouble. I'm just telling you right now. We will be sure to refer you to all of our friends. Let me say that again. We will be sure to refer you to all of our friends. That's how they roll. Here's some numbers. Office number, 517-853-6408. Get these numbers down, 517-853-6408. And then Brock's cell phone number, 517-303-3262. The selling team of Keller Williams. You can go to tommattshow.com. You can go to the bottom of the web. He's all over the place. The website's sweet. Got 25 episodes that you can go back through and just kind of peruse. And now you got 2 back-to-back episodes where you got the sellers and the buyers thing that's going on. And also, I would be remiss if I did not mention our new add-on to the team, to the selling team, Joan Wright. Joan, if I don't do my shout-out to you on a Brock show, what's going on? There you go, baby. It's all good. We'll meet someday. Someday we will meet and we will have lunch or something. All right, Brock, let's get back to it here. Going really well. Home sellers like buyers have a set of concerns. It's jeopardy for 1,000. Come on, Alex, let's do this thing. Number 3.
Yeah, and by the way, these are from Gemini AI. So these are the top questions people are asking AI on Gemini about selling their home. So Stacey, coming at you. What repairs or improvements should I make before listing?
Another great question, Brock. Number 1 at the top of that list is obviously going to be any safety concerns, right? So if we have a furnace that it's emitting some carbon monoxide or something like that, we absolutely want to make sure that we're addressing those issues first. From there, it really depends on a lot of things. It depends on, where is the house located? Are these repairs going to be worth it? You never want to overbuild for the neighborhood, right? So if the price point in the houses in your neighborhood are, let's say lower than 100,000, it probably doesn't make sense for you to go and do a $20,000 kitchen remodel. And the flip side of that, if you're in a subdivision where the average house in that subdivision is selling for $300,000 or $400,000, and you have a kitchen that hasn't been touched since 1975, it probably makes sense for you to do those repairs, or a kitchen remodel, bathroom remodel. Also, who's doing the work, right? So that's a huge thing to consider too, because if you are have a skilled trade and you're able to do these renovations yourself, like, cabinet installation, tile work for the bathroom shower, new flooring installation, painting, those types of things. If you can do that work yourself and then your cost is really just the material cost, that's going to make a huge difference for you and the return that investment gives you. As I said previously, for me, it doesn't make sense for a client to invest $5,000 in repairs if they're only going to get $5,000 more on their sales price. Unless it's a safety issue, then it does make sense.
Yeah, because the return on your investment, ROI, is not, if there's no return on investment, the headache that you're going to go through is not worth it.
And time is money, right?
Right. Time is money, for sure. Exactly. Okay, Alex, Brock.
Morgan, what are the total costs involved in selling my home?
So there's several different costs or fees that are associated with selling a home. And yeah, like Brock said, this is something that we do at every single listing appointment. We have what's called a net sheet, and we give you a high and a low range. And we're breaking down all of those costs associated with selling, right? So we're breaking down the commission, we're breaking down the title insurance, we're breaking down the transfer tax and revenue stamps. We're breaking down, do you have a mortgage? Are you in a county that requires a point of sale inspection? So if you're Ingham County, Shiawassee County, you're going to have in your unwound septic, you're going to have an expense for that. So this net sheet it is exactly what it's called, right? It breaks down all of the fees. and it tells you roughly what you're going to get at closing, right? The one thing we really can't calculate is your tax proration, because we don't know how many days of the current year or the next year, whenever you decide to sell, right? We don't know how many days of that year you're going to own the home. So this is, it's pretty darn close to what you're going to get at closing, right? And really, in my 10 years in real estate, I've only had one seller who had to bring money to closing, which is amazing, right? And we knew that from the very beginning. They, didn't make, a great decision when they purchased, and they purchased for higher than what they should have. But the good thing was he only had to bring like $1,000, right? But again, that net sheet lets you know roughly what you're going to be getting at closing. When we get an offer, every single offer you get, we do a net sheet for that. And so that way we can give you actual tax proration on there.
Brock, is that a unique situation for you with a net sheet? Because what I know, the note that I wrote down here is, remember the old commercial, pay me now or pay me later? It's one of those, the net sheet is going to avoid the paying me later thing. You're going to know, right? Are you unique in that whole aspect?
That's something special we do. There are other agents that do it, but I bet you we were the first people that started doing that on the opening appointment. So when we're invited into your home, we're going through all the comparables. We're doing a net sheet right there. We're putting our money right where our mouth is, and we're telling you what you can expect to receive at a closing at that appointment, which, by the way, is really what the client wants. When they invite you into their home, they really want to know one thing and one thing only. What can you sell my home for, and what is it going to cost me? Right? So we're delivering the goods at every interaction.
Stacy, give a couple of minutes reply on this one too, the net sheet and the cost, the total cost. What's your feedback on that?
Well, my feedback from my clients is they love it. In many cases, I find myself in a situation where I am being interviewed among many other agents. And so many times I've heard like praises from people because the other agents that they met with not only did not provide them with a net sheet, but really didn't even go over the comparable sales with them. So my philosophy with real estate is number one, I'm focusing on relationships first, right? I want to find out what your hopes and dreams in real estate world are. Why do you want to sell? What's important to you about selling? And then also give full disclosure on what you can expect moving forward. And the money is a big portion of that, right? Because they need to know how much they're going to have in order to move forward in their next step. And so I think that by going through those comparables, and in a lot of situations, I'll print off the data sheets for these comparable sales, but then we'll go through the pictures together, because the outside picture only tells such a small part of the story. So that by going through those pictures and figuring out what other details there are about the house really help us get into the nitty gritty and make sure that we are pricing it appropriately.
Excellent answer. Excellent answer. The Seller's Agent, top 10 questions that sellers ask in real estate. Coming to you from Gemini AI through Brock, Alex Trebek, Morgan and Stacy are here. I'm Tom, and we do this thing called the Tom Matt Show. And we're so glad that you're listening to us, because these people are going to not only alleviate a lot of anxiety, but they are going to make you some money. We'll be right back.
This segment of the Tom Matt Show is brought to you in part by The Source of Light and Power by band leader Archival and broadcaster Mitch Anderson. Hear the sound that is endorsed by Odyssey headphones, linear tube audio, RME converters, and Peluso microphones at sourceoflightandpower.bandcamp.com.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Tom Matt Show. I love having tech issues with my stuff. It keeps me sharp. This is the whole thing, everybody. Having experts to help you with your issues in life makes life very nice. And that's why I love having the selling team as our people, because, Mikey, who was on our last week's show, helped us buy Little House Lansing, where we're recording this. And it was a big move. It was a huge move. All right, guys, I need to get your contact info. Stacy, let's go to you first. Stacy Robinson is here. Morgan Meredith is here as well, as with Brock, Alex Trebek. Stacy, go ahead and Give your contact info, and then we'll throw it right to Morgan.
So you can reach me at 517-803-5165. My email, you'll probably spell it wrong, so just text me or call me. It's Stacey Robison at kw.com, STACEEROBISON at kw.com.
And it's Robison. Just get that name right. Okay, we got that. Morgan?
Yep. My phone number is 517-505-1422. And then my email address is just my first and last name at kw.com. So Morgan Meredith at kw.com. It's MorganMeredith at kw.com.
And remember, everybody, the website's so awesome. The KW Selling Team website's so awesome. Go there, KW Selling Team, kwsellingteam.com, or you can go to my website, tommattshow.com. Brock, you want to share your numbers, or you think everybody's got those memorized?
I think they got them. And honestly, I would just prefer if you need a great listing agent, just reach out to Morgan or Stacey directly too. You don't even have to go directly to me. We're at the point in their careers where they've advanced beyond me. I mean, they're the best. I mean, legitimately. And I put them up against anybody on the planet, frankly.
How's that make you guys feel when you hear that from your boss?
Amazing.
Good.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, of course. I mean, he's a mentor, and he's supportive. And those are notes I've written down here, and he's just a good guy. And so keep that in mind, everybody. And we'll have all that in the recap. So go to the website. Websites are where it's at. Okay, Alex Trebek. Where are we at? Number 5?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Who do you want? Who are you going to offer this one to?
I'm gonna have them both answer it, but I'll go to Stacey first because they're going to give slightly different answers. But Stacey, how are you going to market my home to attract buyers?
Again, great question. So I think that there are a few key points that are super duper important. Number one is going to be the price. We have to make sure that it's priced effectively. The condition of the home. It's very important for the home to be clean and clutter-free. We use a professional photographer on all of our listings. And so with how high def all of those photos are, I want to make sure that there isn't a lot of stuff and clutter that's distracting for our potential buyers. So we want to make sure that it's clean. So when we roll out that listing, we're making our best first impression, right? We're going to put it on the MLS. It's going to syndicate to your realtor.com, your Zillow, your all the things. We also subscribe to homes.com. So our listings are being advertised on a lot of non-real estate websites like ESPN, the Weather Channel. I remember the first time I saw my face on the home screen of the Weather Channel, it kind of freaked me out, but it was also super duper cool, right? So we're able to attract buyers who may not know that they're looking for a home. And then they see, I would move if the perfect home came up. And then they go to check the weather and the perfect home came up. And now we, have been able to attract a buyer that maybe we wouldn't have been able to otherwise.
Okay, go ahead, Morgan.
Yeah, I would say, Morgan, will you give your answer on that question as well?
Yeah. So, number one, pricing is a key, right? And then having a good, team behind you. It's not me that does all the marketing. We have 2 marketing gurus, Stacey and Jarrell on our Katie and Jarrell on our team. They are absolutely amazing. They're going to post on all social medias. They're going to make sure we choose the best of the best photos that our photographer takes. And yet we use the photographer that we use. He is top notch. I don't care if your home we're listing it at $1 million or we're listing it at $10,000. We are going to give you the same photographer, the same high definition photos, same Matterport. We do Matterport on our listings, which for those of you that don't know, Matterport is like a 3D 360-degree tour of your home. It also gives you a floor plan. I mean, you are literally looking at the house sitting at your computer. It's amazing. So again, no matter what the price point of your home is, you're getting the same marketing that somebody that might be selling for $1 million or $5 million or whatever, right? Everybody gets the same service. And that's just your first impression is key, right? I always tell, our clients, it doesn't take just one time to sell your house. We're selling your home over and over and over again. So it's that first impression and getting it out there to everybody. I also reach out to agents and say, hey, I have these properties for sale. Bring me a buyer. Let's make this work.
Don't forget, everybody, that Brock spends thousands on marketing. And, part of it is with our radio program that he's been supporting now for years and years and years. So he is way proactive when it comes to this investment. That's what the ladies are talking about here. Brock's supportive. The whole team is supportive, and you're going to get the best bang for your buck. And I'm just saying that because it's true. I mean, some agents, I know this for a fact, that there are some agents out there that don't start doing any marketing until they get your listing. Brock's, they're way ahead of that. Go ahead.
One other thing that we do that a lot of the other agents don't do is we're really big on open houses. Like, we have 10 amazing buyer agents on our team, and they are looking for open houses to hold open every single weekend. In addition to that, they will actually go door to door in your neighborhood and invite your neighbors to the open house. Because if you have the opportunity to choose your own neighbor, as opposed to someone you may not necessarily get along with for different reasons, and you've got a cousin, you're going to want to say, hey, cousin Sue, I've got a house that's coming up for sale 2 doors down the road from me. That's a great source of marketing as well.
That word of mouth we talked to.
I do need to say we're not discriminating based on any protected class, but there is an opportunity to pick your neighbor when we go door to door and talk to the neighbors, but we're not discriminating against anybody. I want to make that clear.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Okay, Alex, you got about 2 minutes to go here, so we can set this one up and we can finish the thread when we come back into the fifth segment. But number 6.
Yeah. How long is it going to take to sell my home? Let's go to you, Morgan, first.
Yeah, that's a great question. And that is a question that I get at every single listing appointment. And that answer is all based upon the data that we have in your neighborhood or in your school district if you're more of a rural area. I wish I could say right now, like, everything's selling in a week. It's not. It just depends on the area, the price, and the condition. But a good range, if I had to give a range today, I would say the average days on the market is about, I think we're 21 to 24 days on the market. But again, it's very specific to your neighborhood, where you're pricing it at, and the condition. Typically, or I should say not typically, but right now in our market, we're seeing more buyers in the price point of $250,000 and under. Anything over that typically takes just a few more days. Not, again, it just depends. I don't like to just shout out numbers.
Stacy, we got about a minute and a half to go here. You want to throw in a quick answer?
Yeah, I think it really just depends on the property itself. As Morgan said, our most popular price range is $250 and below. So it really, it's case by case. It's going to depend on, is the house move-in ready? Is it a fixer-upper? Is it an investment property? Is it a unique property that's got a really, niche audience, right? So it really, it's case by case basis. Not really something that I can give a blanket answer on, but certainly when I'm sitting down with my client and I have more of the information and the data available to me, I can give them a better idea.
These people are on top of their game. They want the data. They want the information. They want to help you. The biggest word that I've heard so far in this episode is relationship. I mean, if you don't have a relationship, that's where Brock and I started off. I mean, we didn't even know each other, as I've said a bunch of times. All right, we got 4 more to do. We're going to try and jam through these in our final segment. We've got Brock here, Morgan's here, Stacy's here, the seller's agent. The top 10 questions that sellers ask when you want to sell your home from Gemini AI. This is The Tom Matt Show.
Thank you again to Brock Fletcher, real estate agent at the selling team with Keller Williams Realty. For more information on services provided by Brock, please call his personal cell phone at 517-303-3262 or by emailing Brock at kwsellingteam.com. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back to the radio show, everybody. Tom Matt Show. The Seller's Agent, Reality of Real Estate with Brock, Morgan, and Stacy. Top 10 questions sellers ask AI through Gemini. All right there, Alex Trebek, Brock Fletcher. Go ahead.
We got the last four coming at you here. Stacy, is now a good time to sell? That's the next question.
Ooh.
It's always a good time to sell. Obviously, the market does fluctuate throughout the year. I think that there are more people who are excited to move in like April, May, June, July than maybe like December or January. Especially here in Michigan, we tend to hibernate a little bit more throughout the holidays. So we do see an influx of buyers and multiple offer situations in the spring and summer months. But really, and I'm going to go back to this every single time. It really just depends on the person's situation, right? People sell every single day of the year. People buy houses every single day of the year. So it's always a good time to sell.
Kind of reminds me of what Mikey was saying yesterday, Brock.
Yeah, it's always a good time to buy if you have the right reasons.
We had these conversations, you guys, and it's just like, these are the things you need to understand when you talk to the selling team. And you know what? Talking to Brock, Stacy, Morgan, Mikey, any of them, not going to cost you anything. Ask good questions. Just ask questions. Introduce yourself. They'll help you. All right, go ahead, Alex.
Yes, Morgan, this can be a tricky one for our sellers, but question number 8 is, what should I disclose to potential buyers?
Oh, that's a really good question. So we have, it's a 4-page document. It's called Seller's Disclosures. There's questions regarding appliances, mechanicals. Do they work? Do you know the age of them? Have you ever had water in your basement? Any deed restrictions? It's pretty much how I explain it to our clients is it's the history of your home, right? These are legal documents that we have to fill out, right? Unless it's an estate. And there's a few other, commercial properties don't apply, vacant land and so forth. However, if you know the answers to the questions, answer them. Don't lie. Be truthful. Even if a question comes up that, say a buyer has a question and it's not on the disclosures. Here's one I get a lot. Do I have to disclose if somebody ever died in my house?
Really?
Get that? I've got, not that I get it all the time, right? But I have got it frequently. And that's not on the disclosures, but if you know that somebody's passed away in the house, disclose it, right? You don't have to come out and say, hey, somebody died here, back in 1800, right? But if somebody asks and you know the answer, don't lie. Because it's not going to do you any good to lie, right? But it's good to have an agent on your side that knows what they're talking about, because you don't want to say something that could potentially hurt you in the long run. So it's not going, riding a line of ethical or not ethical. It's being honest, being upfront, and knowing what is okay to share and what we shouldn't share.
Just don't embellish too much, everybody. Just be straight. If you're straight in your life, everything will be fine. If you're not, well, then things are crooked, and away we go. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, Stacy, I'm coming back at you with question number 9. Also a very good question that sellers have asked AI. What if a buyer's offer comes with contingencies?
99.9% of them do. And it's my job.
Like what?
Okay, so the most common contingency would be a home inspection contingency. Also, contingency on financing, which as a listing specialist, I don't take any offer seriously unless I have pre-approval from a bank or proof of funds tied to it. And not just any pre-approval too, right? So like we're vetting these banks. Not all banks or mortgage companies are created equally. And as a professional in this area, I know who the good, bad, and the ugly are. So part of my job is helping my clients understand like, hey, this bank right here, if we have a pre-approval with them, these people are ready to rock and roll, right? This one, we've had some experiences with. Maybe, the processing time is long or there's poor communication, but a good lender can make or break the transaction. Other types of contingencies would include maybe they have a house to sell before they can actually close and finalize the purchase of this new home. That's a pretty common one that we see. I mean, there are other contingencies, but those are the three primary contingencies that I see. When we're talking about vacant land, a lot of time it'll be contingent on getting like a perk test, getting a driveway permit, those types of things, getting, approved for the building site that you want, et cetera, et cetera. But it's my job to be able to navigate those contingencies, make sure that they are standard, or if, perhaps maybe sometimes the contingencies are a little unnecessary.
I just wonder about HOAs, and there's a lot of these planned communities now, you guys, and condos and stuff where there's extra costs that come along. Mm-hmm. And what are they doing for you? Is it worth it? I mean, I don't know about that. The contingency's got to be just enormous. I mean, enormous. You want to add a couple things to that, Morgan? We got time before we go to question 10.
I mean, yeah, every offer is different. Every offer, some offers are going to have different contingencies than other. Like we had just mentioned, if it's an HOA, and the offer may be contingent upon viewing the bylaws or the budgeting, and so forth. And pretty much though, I mean, all of those are pretty straightforward. If it's a condo, right, you're going to get the bylaws, you're going to get the budget and all of that, and they're going to sign off of it, no problem. But I mean that, yeah, every offer is going to be contingent on something, right? It's not really anything meant to scare a seller, right? These contingencies. I will have a client that's like, I don't want it to be contingent on a home inspection. It's sold as is. Well, in the state of Michigan, everything is sold as is, right? They can do their home inspection. It doesn't mean we have to fix anything. Typically, if it's a health and safety issue, we'll address it. But yeah, contingencies are not to be a scare tactic whatsoever.
Alex, number 10, we made it.
Yeah, this is a big one. I if time permits to get both Stacy and Morgan to respond, I would love that. But Morgan, I'll start with you. How do you handle multiple offers?
Again, another great question. So, every seller loves a bidding war, right? Buyers, they really don't like them, right? That's the truth behind it. But typically how I handle a highest and best or multiple offer situation would be, once an offer comes in, I always reach out to my client and say, we got an offer. We have X amount of showings still scheduled. How would you like to handle it? I will give my advice. Typically I always say, let's let the rest of the showings happen, because you never know what other buyer is out there. But if we don't have any other showings scheduled, then we kind of make a different game plan from there. But typically what I would do is I would say, okay, so we have 4 showings today, 2 showings tomorrow. Let's call for highest and best by midnight, the day of our last showing. That way it gives everybody the equal opportunity to either come in, change their offer, or if somebody wanted to schedule a last minute showing, we could allow it. And I do have, I have had some offers that come in that want a response time within like the next 5 hours. And yeah, they'll say, well, we'll pull our offer. But the reality is they're not going to pull their offer. They could, right? I am always open and upfront with my clients and say, hey, they could pull their offer, but this is a scare tactic. I've seen this before. If they really love your house, they're not going to pull their offer. One time it happened to me, and I called the agent and told him we're waiting for all offers to come in. And he goes, well, they're on 6 different properties, and they're going to take the first one that accepts their offer. they didn't love any of those 6 houses. They're just throwing things out there to see what they can get. So, don't let offers or deadlines intimidate you, right? Know the ins and outs of what could happen, but don't be scared by them, right? And that's, again, why you hire one of us to help navigate through that.
Stacy, you got a quick answer? Because I got about a minute.
Yep. So usually it's pretty evident within the first 24 to 48 hours if it's going to probably be a multiple offer situation based on the amount of showings that we have. So I touch base with my client once we get that first offer, let them know, say, hey, these are our options. If they decide to do a multiple offer situation, we'll determine a deadline. And then I will reach out to the agents, let them know that, look, we've got highest and best. These are the 3 things that are most important to my clients. I'll put a note in Flex, note in our showing service as well, and then just send out an email blast to all the agents that have shown it. And then once we get it, once we close, I like to put all of the offers into a spreadsheet so that my sellers can easily look at, Jim's offer is conventional at this price with these contingencies, and Sue and so on and so forth. And then I send that to them. We go through it together, and it really helps to ease the process because you can't send 10, 13-page documents to a seller and expect them to, so just guiding them through that, giving my own opinion, and then answering any questions that they have.
My take on that is the visual is so important. You can see it, and don't get played with the squeeze play. In baseball, they call it the squeeze play. The squeeze play sometimes works, a lot of times it doesn't. All right, I got to wrap this bad boy. I want to thank my guests that have been with us today: Brock Fletcher, Alex Trebek. Way to go, Brock! You did a good job with that. Morgan Meredith, you're a star. Stacy Robinson, you're another star. According to your boss, it's all good. If our show fits your business or group's mission, we want to be of service to you. Thank you again, Craig Stiles, Brock Fletcher, Morgan, Stacy. We'll talk to you next weekend, everybody. Have a great week. Go out and ignite your life. Remember, the Tom Matt Show is a production of Boomers Rock Media. We want to bring your story to life. We are out.
The Tom Matt Show is produced by Mitch Anderson of Black Circle Studios. Original music from the Source of Light and Power by the Arc of All.